All right, let's move on to the bench. Okay, again, if you wanted to see the technique, hand position, foot position, the extension of the spine that we get for our bench, look at video 1, look at video 2. They are available on our page. But yeah, accessories for this. When we're thinking about the muscles that are being used and therefore the ones we want to develop, to extend at the elbow, we got our tricep muscles in the arm, the bigger ones in the arm, the upper arm. We've got our pecs that are working at adduction. Okay, we know, very well known, that the bench builds a big chest. So those pec muscles. What else it's also building is the front of the shoulder, that anterior delt right here. And we can't really bench at all unless we have lat engagement. So working our lats to create that extension in the spine and create stability so that when we press, we don't move, and that we can actually have the bar move instead of us move. On top of that, making sure our forearm is vertical the whole time, weight underneath, the arm underneath the weight, and what exercises we can do to kind of strengthen our hand stability, just like we want to strengthen our foot stability in a squat. So let's start with that tricep. How can we improve, or how can we train triceps? Well, one of the things we can do is use a floor press. Now the floor press limits our range of motion to really just the extension at the elbow. It doesn't allow much adduction. It doesn't allow much adduction. You're going to see as I come down, my elbows are going to hit the floor, and then I'm going to extend away. I'm not getting much of a eccentric phase of the bench. Okay, we're really just working the lockout. Okay, so again, this is an exercise that if you struggle, you can get the bar off your chest, but you can't lock out. Floor press is a good one to train. So I'll demonstrate this. Again, you want to make sure you've got a spotter if this is your first time doing it. Come down to the elbows on the floor and push away. Elbows to the floor, push away. I can add difficulty to this. I can add more emphasis to the triceps if I bring them in. Okay, if I bring my arms in, actually make my arms longer, right? If I go this way, my arms in vertical distance get shorter. Okay, they don't go away from the floor as much. If I bring my arms in, they get a little longer, and I can emphasize the triceps even more, that extension at the elbow. Now, slow movements are always best when we're trying to strengthen our movement. We're going to add time under tension, and therefore add more stress and ask for more adaptation of the muscle. The close grip, I talked about that just there, but you can obviously just do a close grip bench here, and that's going to add. So if normal is here, bringing it in, it's going to ask more of that tricep to extend away in that bench position. You could also do a skull crush or any real tricep exercise. You could do pulley pull downs. You could do a number of different movements and accessory exercises that are out there. Close grip push-ups.
Yeah, okay.
We're back?
Yeah.
Okay, looks like we got some connection issues, so bear with us as we go through here. One that I really like to add to my tricep extension is the skull crush. This is arms are closer together, again emphasizing that extension of at the elbow. We're going to come down, and as it kind of implies with the name skull crush, we're going to bring it right down to our forehead, extend away. Down to our forehead and extend away. Try to have no movement. Try to keep the upper arms vertical and just have flexion extension at the elbow. What about working the chest? how do we work the pecs a little bit more? How do we work the anterior delt a little more? Well, it'd be the opposite. We want to get a wider position, okay, so that our arms get into, you get into a deeper, more of an eccentric movement, and we don't have so much extension at the elbow, but more abduction. So a wide grip bench. So that works more adduction, bringing that upper arm in than a close grip bench would. What else could you do? We really, the limiting factor on a barbell is that it reaches your chest and you can't go any lower. Your arms have the ability to go lower, but the bar stops you. So in order to get rid of that obstacle, let's use dumbbells. So here, I like to change it up, use an incline, get a different angle so that we get a different emphasis on those muscles. So incline dumbbell press. I'm working pec, I am working tricep too, but you can see here I can go much lower than what a barbell would allow me to. Even more so, I can go neutral grip and go even lower. Much lower than a barbell allow me to get more emphasis on that stretch of the chest and then contraction of the chest. Furthermore, we could come down and then internal rotation, working anterior delt as you come up. Contract, internally rotate, working more anterior delt. Okay, so chest, anterior delt, triceps covered, different exercises to work those. That would be, you know, the pec and the anterior delt. If you're struggling to get the bar off your chest, work that range of motion. Get training and get stronger here with dumbbells so that you can push the bar off, and then now you're asking the triceps to lock it out. So depending on where your weak points are, your accessories should be working those areas. With the, as I said, with a bench, you can't bench without strong lats. Those lats are pulling your shoulders out slightly. They're going to be, and they're extending the spine. Our lats touch, as we've touched on in the previous videos, to go back to those and look at the techniques and the movements and the contractions that are happening. But our lats play a key role in the bench. How do we work lats? Well, it's in the name. Our lat pull down would be a great way to work our lats. So let's go and show you the lat pull down. Now you could do pull-ups as well. Pull-ups though are generally pretty hard for people. That's going to be pretty fatiguing. If you can do pull-ups, great, do those. Otherwise, use the lat pull down and do that same movement. Okay, with this, you want to imagine that you're benching still, okay? Really wide grip will work lats more, but it's not going to transfer to the bench as much as a bench width. So whatever you bench with, if I'm here, that's my normal grip, we want to hold the bench, the bar, in a lat pull down the same width apart, so that we can pull and get that extension of the spine happening just like it would be when we bench. So I don't want a row with this. I don't want you doing low back and then row. I want you to hold position, retract the scapula, and then pull in that position. You see my torso is not changing angle. I'm purely getting the lats to contract and pull my arms down, and I've got no motion here. You'll see a lot of times people trying to cheat the lat pull down doing this. That's not going to transfer as well when it comes to the bench. We want this positioning when we bench. So let's train that. Okay. So last two I have for bench accessories would be working stability. One of the key things we want to be able to do is have a strong wrist. How do we train a strong wrist in the bench? Well, you saw it in the squat. We could use a tsunami bar or a replica of tsunami bar and add a bouncing weight to the bar. So now we're benching, we're getting this instability occurring, and this may hit the floor, but you can see the wobble here. This is hard for me to control. It's asking a lot of my thoracic, my shoulder blades, just to stabilize here as I talk. And then I can come down, push away, and you can see that bounce and the difficulty I'm having trying to keep everything still in line. So maybe that's something to try. Alternatively, one that I really love, it's the bottom-up kettlebell press. So I have here a 20-pound kettlebell. Normally you're going to be using this in this sort of positioning. What makes it a way more difficult and a way more of a forearm exercise is if we turn it upside down, bottom up, and then press. You can see, hopefully you can see, it's much more difficult to do, and this is my weaker arm. Let's try this one. A lot more difficult to maintain this. I've got to grip it, I've got to squeeze hard, work my forearms, work my rotator cuff to keep that forearm vertical right underneath of that weight. So another way to really work stability for the bench. I've talked about the different accessories again, and now probably 10 different exercises there that you can use to develop that bench movement. If you're struggling at the bottom of the movement, when the bar is basically on the chest, try the pause. Okay, make it more difficult where you struggle with a lighter load, so that we can develop, adapt from that, and then become stronger. If you're struggling to lock out, we could add bands. We could add bands to this, and so. Or even chains. Chains are used pretty commonly nowadays. We have chains here. I didn't get them out, but you can add chains to the bar. When you descend, the chains hit the floor's taking the weight, and as you extend, the chains come off the floor and the bar gets heavier, and therefore we're working more weight as you extend up. So working more on that lockout. So different ways, again, depending on your weak points.